When I say articles, you say of impeachment, articles.
Give me your ways. You don't know what to do with it. Give me your way. Give me your.
I'm not talking about newspapers or magazines, but let me tell you something. I'm excited for those articles. I'm excited for those articles of impeachment. Before we get into it, I wanted to thank Citlaji Ramirez, Yomi Yum Yum, Kelds Fonz, Deandra, Sammy Joseph, Leandre Lee, Phoenix Tremaine, Taylon Pitts, Jarrell Jones, Alyssa H, all of you guys, Kimmy Menace, who have signed up for patreon.com/AdrianExpression. Over there, I released the latest episode of the Expression Podcast, which is entitled Snubbed, and I talked about the Golden Globes. I broke down Watchmen, the latest episode of Watchmen, talked about what's going on in Jersey City, Miss Universe, all of that. So if you want to hear even more of me running my mouth, make sure you go to patreon.com/AdrianExpression, sign up. Also over there, I just put a YouTube suggestion box so that the patrons will have exclusive priority to tell me like which topics they want me to cover in my regular videos. So check it out, especially because I'm tired of fighting with YouTube's ass, and this is a way for me to keep creating content efficiently and sustainably, okay? So I brought me and my tiny crop top and my linebacker built ass shoulders to come here and talk about some topics. So we're not even gonna waste any time. We're gonna get right into it, all right? Cardi B came over here. I think she's in Queens going to court for telling one of y'all birds to beat up some of these strippers or something. I guess she's facing a whole case, but she came out here looking like a bird. Like I always say, if she can't do anything else, the girl can hit us with some fashion. I had to look around and see if sis was at 123 Sesame Street, the way that this long ass beautiful coat thing that she had on is giving me Big Bird dipped in tar. You see what I'm saying? I'm very much so here for her outfit, but the outfit won't save her in front of these damn judges. So we'll see what the case, we'll see how the case turned out. Something else I was also here for is her damn bodyguard. I'm not sure what's going on with a lot of these celebrities, specifically the female rappers and these sexy ass bodyguards, but let me tell you something. If I was famous and I had a bodyguard like that, he would be constantly distracted on the job, because if he's into me, I would not be opposed to spreading them legs while he gives me a security pat down. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on. He's fine as hell. And also Megan Thee Stallion's bodyguard is fine as hell. Like, someone please, where are they? What's the company that y'all using to hire these bodyguards? I'm gonna have to take a visit. Shit, I'll do me an internship at the company. What's that? I don't know shit about security, but I can surely secure my legs around your neck. We're gonna keep it moving. So while y'all were over there trying to drag Lizzo, this is what apparently happened. She has been crowned by Time Magazine as the Entertainer of the Year. Like I always said, Lizzo's music is not really for me, but the way that y'all treat her, I'm so happy that she continues to, every time y'all drag her, it's like she accomplishes something else. Love that for the talented sis. She can play, she's playing the flute all the way to the goddamn bank. Like I said in my live stream, some people were just critiquing the outfit, but other people were showing what we have always seen from them and trying to tear her down as a person and all the disgusting ass fat jokes and shit. So I think there's definitely a difference between the two, but what I saw on social media was a lot of hatred. Y'all weren't just picking at the outfit, you're picking at her and her body. So I'm just glad that she took her body up on this Time Magazine and is serving you all types of, I don't know, it's giving me one-legged, bedazzled leaf tees. That's what it's giving me. But I'm so much here for it. So somebody else that got a whole lot of people mad this year was Greta Thunberg, and she was the one who's out here fighting for climate change and speaking up about it. And I'm happy for her. Before I talk a little bit more about her, I'm happy for her. I just wish that little Miss Flint was out here getting the same type of platforms and recognition, but okay. I'm just like, all right, Miss Flint been fighting for years. Okay. But yeah, it's still cool to see that Greta Thunberg got Person of the Year from Time Magazine. And I think it's really cool because there's a whole lot of conspiracy theories and stuff that were made up about her. There was so much anger coming out about her. It's just like, wow, she's literally saying, hey, stop bullshitting and we need to save the planet. And y'all are really trying to drag her. I read up and they said people made a whole bunch of claims about this girl, saying that she was abandoned by her father. They said that her mother teaches teenagers how to do abortions. They made it seem like her strikes and protests left behind like whole mounds of trash. They edited a bunch of photos to make it seem like she was standing with terrorist organizations or eating next to starving children. It was a lot that y'all put this girl through, so I'm happy that she got some positive press, because y'all were ridiculous. So speaking of things that are ridiculous, apparently Saucy Santana is in the hospital because he got shot. Now these are non-life-threatening injuries, but this is coming from NBC Miami. I'm talking about about Mr. Santana, walking like a dog, Santana. So NBC Miami is saying that Santana's talent manager said he was with friends and they were targeted in what may have been a random drive-by shooting. So 3 of the victims were hit and they were taken to Aventura Hospital. They were non-life-threatening, like I said, non-life-threatening injuries. His management made a statement, said Saucy Santana wants to thank everyone for all the calls and support. So I'm not understanding. Now they do say it's random. I just hope that it's not one of these niggas that Santana like to be fucking around with, and it's not to be victim blaming or anything. It's just that I just know that it's a common theme in some segments of the black gay community to want to be fucking around with niggas that talk to you like, oh, I'm about to beat your ass, or I'm about to break your face. I'm like, girl, just don't come at me with that type of energy, because I'm calling 911. So I don't know who really is sitting back now like, oh yeah, I shot up Saucy Santana. Like, oh wow, you got a gold star for your dumb ass. I don't know. I guess we will get more updates as that story evolves, but I was not expecting to see that shit pop up on my timeline. All right, so in more disgusting news, Lifetime has officially announced the fact that they're doing a sequel to Surviving R. Kelly. So it's called Surviving R. Kelly Part 2, The Reckoning, and the documentary sequel will be just like the original and will be spread across 3 nights beginning January 2nd. It premieres January 2nd at 9 p.m. on Lifetime. Now, let me tell you something. I think I've watched enough of R. Kelly and what he has done to know that his ass needs to be underneath somebody's jail cell. But do you know how sadistic your ass has to be if you get not only part 1 that already was 3 parts, but part 2, which is gonna be 3 parts as well, of apparent evidence against your ass? You know how nasty your ass has to be? Get his ass out of here. I don't want to see nothing else. Honestly, I'm not gonna watch that shit. I will definitely look at some of the outtakes and maybe some of the highlights on social media, but that disturbed my soul when I watched the first part of it, but I didn't even watch the whole first part of that shit. It disturbed my spirit and soul. So y'all can let me know what happens, but girl, get his ass out of here. That's all that I take from this situation. So if you follow me on Twitter, you already know what I'm about to say, okay? If you want to see a funny joke, look at this. So ICE tweeted that they honor they're trying to honor Human Rights Day. You want to hear the bullshit statement? They said this is a statement. The women and men of ICE dedicate themselves every day to protecting the dignity and human rights of people around the world. Through our work investigating perpetrators of genocide. Through our work investigating perpetrators of genocide, torture, war crimes, and other violations of human rights. Damn, y'all investigate yourselves, nigga. Fucking crying. They are committed to seeking the prosecution and removal of human rights violators seeking refuge here. Girl, y'all need to remove yourselves. Control-Alt-Delete yourselves. Force quit program yourself. They said we will not allow the United States to be a safe haven for those who violate human rights. So I'm just like, sis, then why you here? So y'all doing all this talking and it's just really a slap in the face. And yet y'all are tricking foreign-born students with fake-ass universities and canceling their visas because the university was fucking fake. Y'all out here facilitating the separation of parents from their fucking children. It's just like, girl, stop lying. Get out of here, bro. That joke would be so funny if people weren't dying because of it, okay? So since y'all talking about that y'all for human rights, I'm wondering why is it that, you know, federal agencies like ICE are doing shit like this? What? Look at this. So apparently this group, Doctors for Camp Closure, they're a group of medical professionals who are trying to provide detained migrants with free flu vaccinations, but they were arrested by federal authorities on Tuesday. I think they were arrested, cited, and they were released. There was no physical harm that was brought to them as far as I know, as far as the research that I've done. But it's absolutely ridiculous to pretend to be about human rights. And then when people are trying to take care of immigrants that y'all crammed into these detention centers, y'all try to arrest them. Dr. Marie DeLuca, she's an emergency physician from New York City, and she was one of the founders of this group. She said that physicians felt it was their duty to stop people from needlessly suffering and dying lying. In a statement to Newsweek, they said, "We are licensed medical doctors and practitioners with decades of experience. The Trump administration has left us with no choice but to show up at the San Diego Border Patrol headquarters and beg to provide life-saving medical care for these children. We have already written to immigration officials and tried to set up meetings with them as well, but they are ignoring us and children's lives are at risk as a result. We will not stand down." As things are getting worse and worse, like the bigotry of people, the greed of people, the hate of people, the lack of empathy of people, you start to see the other side of it. The other side of people who are not going to back down. They're not going to sit their ass down or shut up. They risk their safety to stand up for people who do not have as much. That's, I guess, the only great thing about this whole situation is that there's still human beings on this planet who have some sense of goddamn empathy, you know? So all of this stupidity has already been here before this administration, but this administration has been key in getting people to feel emboldened to do even more hideous things. And speaking of this administration, guess what? Guess what? The House Democrats have announced on Tuesday that they are bringing 2 articles of impeachment against Mr. Talking Toupee, the cheating Cheeto, the tired train wreck built ass Trump, all right? And the 2 articles are abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. So this has come from NPR. Part of the resolution says this: President Trump has acted in a manner contrary to his trust as president and subversive of constitutional government, to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. For abuse of power, they're citing the whole Ukraine situation. They're citing 3 things. The first one, directing the White House to defy a lawful subpoena by withholding the production of documents sought therein by committees. The second one, directing other executive branch agencies and offices to defy lawful subpoenas and withhold the production of documents and records from the committees. And as a result, these agencies, including the Department of State, Office of Management, and Budget, Department of Energy, all of them did not produce one single document or record. And the third one is directing current and former executive branch officials not to cooperate with the committees. And of course, as a result, as we all know, a number of his officials refused to even comply with any of the subpoenas. So, of course, this is not like we're jumping up for joy. There's a lot more that has to happen. The Judiciary Committee has to send the articles of impeachment to the full House for a vote on whether or not to impeach this goddamn crazy ass nut job. And if the House votes to impeach, which I think that they certainly will, the Senate will have to hold a trial on whether to remove him or to acquit him of all of this shit. And that's where it gets tricky. That's the part that's not looking very promising, right? And of course, there are a lot of Republicans, and he himself has been up there saying that he did nothing wrong. It's a hoax. The FBI, it ain't about shit. They're biased. He's just looking real sad. He's built sad too, okay? Just sad in the face, sad in the hair, sad in the toupee, sad in the hairline, sad in the IQ point, sad in the brain, sad in the skull, sis. She's just sad, all right? So to end this video, I want to speak about something else that's pretty sad. Michelle Obama took her ass onto the Today Show to be interviewed by George W. Bush's daughter. And one of the topics that came up was the whole Ellen controversy and the fact that Ellen was cozied up to George W. Bush as if we just forgot who the fuck he was. And so George W. Bush's daughter brought up this whole idea of, oh, well, you know, your husband talked about the dangers of cancel culture. So can you talk about that whole thing? And Michelle just went into it. She was just like, well, you know, me and George W. Bush, we share the same values. Let me make sure I get it right. She also said, we disagree on policy, but we don't disagree on humanity. She also said, we get lost in our fear of what's different. Sis, if what's different is literally attacking my fucking humanity, sis, I won't get lost in it. That will actually give me clarity and give me, that's like a map, a navigation to avoid that bullshit, okay? You said you disagree on policy, but don't disagree on humanity. I'm just like, if that policy directly attacks somebody's fucking humanity, then obviously there's a disconnect there. Don't act like we stupid, sis. This man had all types of ultra-conservative ass politics that directly affected vulnerable communities. What the fuck are you talking about? His anti-gay politics, like, girl, sit your ass down. He appointed judges to the courts that continue his legacy of fucking destruction. We ain't gonna talk about his foreign policy that killed a bunch of innocent people. Like, stop. You know what? It just, no, matter of fact, continue, because it allows us to just get to know who y'all really are. Obama been running his mouth too, like, so it allows us just keep talking, so that we can continue to distance ourselves from y'all asses. That's how it sounded right now to me. And make sure that unlike the lawyers that are sitting at the White House, that you have a good goddamn evening.